this is for Integrated Math 2, and we have a test coming up for Module 3. So I wanted to show you a few problems. I'm going to work out problems 12, 16, and 19 from page 83. So hopefully this can help you with your review. Okay, so number 12. Okay, I have 1 over 125 x to the third power to the power of negative 1/3. Okay, so you do get to use your foldable chart that we did. Okay, so it has the properties and then it also has some additional examples on there. So if you look on that chart, you're going to notice what you would do with this negative exponent. Okay, so by definition of a negative exponent, you can take the reciprocal of this and then this will turn into a positive exponent. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and write the reciprocal. So 125 x to the third power. And this negative 1/3 now becomes positive 1/3. Okay, I'm going to write the reason for this is definition of a negative exponent. Oops, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the word given here. Okay, next. Inside I see multiplication, this x to the third power, that's a power, and we have a power on the outside. Okay, this right here is not a power, so we can't say that this is a power of a power, but since this is multiplying, this is a power of a product. Okay, so if you look at your chart, power of a product tells you to distribute this 1/3. Okay, so this will be 125 to the 1/3 power times x to the third to the 1/3 power. I'm going to go ahead and write the reason for that would be power of a product. Okay. So let's see. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and turn that back into a radical. Okay, so that will be the cubed root of 125 to the first power times, and then this here is power of a power. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 3 times 1/3. A number times its reciprocal equals 1. X to the 1. You don't have to have the 1 there. Okay, so my justification here would be rewrite as a radical. And power of power. Okay, so this means what number multiplies itself 3 times to get 125? Okay, that would be 5. Then you take 5 and take it to the first power. 5 to the first power is 5. So 5 and then x to the first power is just x. Okay, and so the reason for this answer is we simplified. Okay, so that'll do it. What number was that we worked out? That was number 12. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and work out number 16. Get a new sheet of paper. Okay, 16. Ooh, big one. Okay, so we have x squared y in parentheses to the 4th power. And then all of that is to the 1/2 power over x squared y in parentheses to the 1/2 power. And all of this is to the 4th power. Okay, looks kind of scary, but remember, you can look at your rules on your foldable chart. Okay, so what I recognize right away is in the numerator, I see power of power. In the denominator, I see a power of power. Okay, so here we're just going to write the word given. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our power of power rule for the numerator and denominator, which tells us to multiply the exponents. So 4 times 1/2 is 2. So that will be x squared y in parentheses, and we just have a 2 here, over, and then x squared y. Look at that, we have the same base for each one. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Okay, so now, oops, I need to write my justification, and that would be power of power. Right, so now what I can do is I have the same base already. Okay, so to the power of 2. So looking at the properties on your foldable chart, that reminds me of something like this, like x squared over x squared. Okay, this is called quotient of powers. The quotient of powers tells you that you can subtract. So go over here and we're going to subtract the exponents. It's going to be 2 minus 2. Okay, so that's going to be x squared y. 2 minus 2 is 0. Let me go ahead, I'm running out of room here. Let me go ahead and erase this. Okay, our justification for this step was quotient of powers. All right. Now what I see inside here is I can distribute my 0. Okay, that would be power of product. So my next step will be x to the 0 power times y to the 0 power. Okay, and so, oops, not an equal sign. Okay, and that was power of product. Okay, if you work this out another way, that would be fine. So there's several ways that you could have, or several directions you could have gone with this. All right, so now all we need to do is just simplify. A number to the 0 power equals 1. So this is just 1 times 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, justification for that would just be simplify. Okay. All right, that's it. So that will do it for problem number 16. Let's see, so 12, 16, we are now on number 19. Get a new sheet of paper. Okay, 19, we have x to the 10th power to the 1/5 power over the square root of x to the 8th power. Okay, so write given next to it. All right, so I'm going to, since I'm dealing with a numerator and a denominator, I'm going to be doing 2 steps at once. So for the numerator, I see that I want to go ahead and multiply because that's power of power. And then my denominator, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as a rational exponent. Okay, so power of power, that's going to be 10 times 1/5. The 10 and the 5 will cross cancel and be a 2. Okay, so power of power. Okay, and then the denominator, rewrite it as a rational exponent. So that will be 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. Okay, rewrite as a rational exponent. Okay, just to save some room and time, 8 divided by 2, I'm going to go ahead and change that to a 4. Right, now I recognize quotient of powers. Quotient of powers tells us to subtract the exponents. Okay, so that's going to be x to the 2 minus 4, which equals x to the negative 2. Okay, my final answer, I do not want to have a negative exponent, so I'm going to go ahead and put that underneath a 1, make that 1 over x squared. And the reason for that would be definition of a negative exponent. Okay, so that will be my final answer for problem number 16. Okay, so if you need any help, please see me during tutorial. Okay, thank you. Good night.